I inherited a property. What do I do now? That's actually a very common question that I get asked a lot. If you find yourself in a similar situation, well then this video is for you. I'll be walking you through the next steps to take. Watch to the end because I'm going to be sharing how the Las Vegas real estate market affects inherited property and how you can navigate it. Your first step is understanding your situation. After someone you love has passed away, selling the home can be very difficult. When I meet with clients in this situation, there can be a lot of emotions, and many times the clients even have fond memories in the home. I ask a lot of questions about what's important to them on timing and other help. Every situation's different. It's really important that you talk to trusted professionals right away so you can make an informed decision on how best to proceed. I recommend talking to an attorney and accountant as soon as possible. I'll give you a situation where it's really important. I had clients that several months ago came to me and they had spent the last 6 months getting the home ready, handling all the personal property, donating, having an estate sale, actually having the property cleaned and even painted. They'd spent months and months working on this, and then finally came to me to list the home. When I met with them, I realized title was still held in both of their parents' names who were deceased. So the property needed probate, and that's gonna take 3 to 4 months. We could have been handling the probate the whole time they were working on preparing the home. If you inherited property today, what would be your first concern? Share in the comments below. Now on to the next step, which is immediate actions to take. The first thing you want to do is start sorting through the personal property. Look for paperwork like a trust or a will, sometimes even financial paperwork. Many times you'll find that in an office space or a safe, but don't assume that's the only place it'll be found. I'll give you a perfect example. We had one that closed about a month ago, and the heirs came in. It was their father's home. They went through everything. They stayed at the house a couple of days, looked through all of the office, looked through the safe, went through detailed paperwork. We came in and met an estate sale lady, and as I'm meeting the lady, we're looking in the kitchen, kind of opening drawers. Sure enough, third drawer down in the kitchen, there were credit cards, a key to safe security box, and I don't mean just like a junk drawer. It was literally the third drawer down from the oven, so never assume. It's important to really go through everywhere. It's important to start gathering things like the bank statements, insurance documents, retirement accounts, anything related to the house, even like utility bills and the mortgage payment and the HOA. Make sure you are talking to an attorney before you contact any of them. I have many clients that reach out to the bank and let them know, and in that situation, the bank might freeze the account, which could cause problems on direct deposit or automatic payments like for the house or a car. One thing that you actually don't need to look for is the original deed of the house. The deeds are public record, and I can pull that right from the county recorder's office. Step number 3 is to become aware of legal and financial considerations. The title is held in the trust. We can list the home right away. All I'll need is what's called the certificate of trust. This is usually somewhere around 2 to 4 pages and lists who is the successor trustee that has the authority to sign the paperwork. I'll also need an original death certificate. And really that's it. Pretty simple. If the home's held in a trust, I just need a copy of some of the paperwork, an original death certificate, and we can list the home right away. If the title is not held in a trust, it's more likely that we will need probate. Many people assume that if there's a will, probate is not needed, but that's not correct. I need something legal showing who has the ability to sign the paperwork, and that's where the probate court comes in. Additionally, probate court approval may be needed again once we get an accepted offer to approve the sale. During this time, you're going to want to make sure that the mortgage payments are being paid, and you want to determine if there's a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage is a little bit different animal, so the borrower does not actually make payments, but during this time, the actual loan balance increases every month as that payment is added on. In this situation, time is of the essence because every month the loan balance grows. Often there's funds available to pay the mortgage in a checking account or investment fund. But if not, I've had other clients where they've paid the mortgage payment and utility bills, And if so, you can be reimbursed as the administrator of the estate for those costs. So make sure you're keeping receipts and a list of anything you are paying for on behalf of the estate. For utilities, it's important to keep on the power, the water, and gas. These are important because these are the items a buyer will need on to complete a home inspection, and our standard contract says that power, water, and gas must be on through close of escrow. Of course, everything's negotiable, so you could sell the home as is without some of the utilities on. However, keep in mind that a buyer will likely assume worst case scenario, so you'll want to take this into consideration on pricing. Another very important item in Las Vegas is the Homeowners Association. In Nevada, the HOA is a primary lien, which means it's recorded even before your mortgage, and your HOA can foreclose on you. I've seen properties where there wasn't even a mortgage on the home and the HOA foreclosed on the property. It's really sad when that happens. Make sure you're communicating with the HOA and you're keeping those payments current. I have clients right now that we're in escrow with. They contacted me and they had turned off the water and not made those payments. By the time we finally got the water on and started communicating with their HOA, we realized that the HOA had been fining them weekly because of the dead landscaping. Luckily, once we started communicating with them and letting them know that it took some time for the client to be appointed administrator and we were working on it, the HOA did work with us and remove some of those fines. The key is communication. If you're new to my channel, hi there, Leslie Carver here, your expert guide in the world of real estate with a special focus on probate properties and Anthem. I'm here to offer advice, insights, and updates to help you make an informed decision when it comes to buying or selling real estate in Las Vegas or Henderson. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you get notified when a new video comes out. Let's get going. My advice and step number 4 for many clients is decide if you want to sell, rent, or possibly keep the property. I have clients all the time that ask me, Leslie, should we sell or rent? And I give the same advice whether this is an inherited property or just your regular primary residence. If you're considering renting, my advice is to look at long-term goals. It really doesn't make sense to rent the home short-term for a year or less. There's a lot of risk with regard to lost income and possibly property damage. If you're considering renting, really plan more long-term, like 3 to 5 years. And that way you know that you're in a situation where you can rent the home. Really look at each property individually. Does this home even make sense as a rental property? Run the figures. It's great to have a rental property, but you really want to look at the information and see if this property is the best fit for that. Sometimes my clients have sold the inherited property and then brought another property that made much more sense as an investment home. Now, of course, it's a completely different situation if you're looking to rent the home short term so that you will eventually move into it. You just really want to make sure you're talking to an attorney and a tax professional about any and all consequences. Now moving on to step number 5, and this is really preparing the home to sell. When I meet with clients in this situation, there's the home, but there's also all of the personal property that's inside the home. Administrator of the estate might not even live in Las Vegas, and they're trying to figure out what to do with things like the couch and the clothes. With regard to selling items with the property, I generally recommend including the refrigerator because it usually does match with the other appliances in the kitchen, and if possible, including the washer and dryer. Any other personal property, it really just depends on how nice it shows. If it's desirable property, then you can sell the home furnished. If you decide you do not want to include the personal property or it really doesn't benefit the sale, then there's options. For example, there's estate sale companies that will come in and sell all the personal property at the home. There's several consignment companies in town and donation places as well. These days, it's not a perfect answer for personal property, as a lot of those places are busy and you really just kind of have to look at options for the home. Once you've decided what to do with the personal property in the home, now it's time to focus on what repairs and items you should complete for the property itself. If repairs are needed to the roof or a broken AC, those are generally a great idea to complete. Keep in mind, a buyer's going to assume worst case scenario. So a repair for a roof that might only be $1,000, a buyer may assume is several $1,000s, and then they're going to deduct 3 to 5 times what they perceive as the needed repair. So a simple roof repair of $1,000 could easily be a $15,000 deduction in the eyes of a buyer. So it is worth doing actual repairs that are needed for the home. Additionally, I generally recommend doing painting and replacing flooring if those items are worn and needed. A fresh coat of paint can make a huge difference on how the home feels. And if the carpet's worn, replacing the carpeting with fresh carpeting can make a big difference. Those two items can be done quickly and generally inexpensively and make a big difference on how fast the home sells and for much more. I have inexpensive flooring companies and painters, and I generally obtain bids for my clients so they can make an informed decision on what makes most sense for the home. I also have terrific cleaners, and a deep cleaning is an absolute must. And I mean like a move-out cleaning. My cleaners will clean the cabinets inside and out, they'll clean windows inside and out, and just a thorough cleaning of the home. This makes such a difference on the overall feel of the property. There's a lot of other things that you don't even think about when this situation comes up. For instance, is there a car involved in this state? I have clients right now that live in Tennessee and they wanted the car shipped to their home. Unfortunately, they could not drive the car because title was held in the deceased person's name. We helped to have the car transported to them. We were literally meeting the large transportation truck at 10 p.m. at night. There's a lot of things involved in these type of properties. Probate sales are much more complicated than your typical transaction. It's important that you use a real estate agent that has experience in these type of sales and specializes in probate. These types of sales require a lot of soft skills with an agent that takes the extra time with these clients and finds out what's important to the clients and make sure they're communicating through the process. As a certified probate specialist, I have the knowledge, experience, and tools to help my clients through the process. Okay, it's time for a pop quiz. Let's see how much you learned. What improvements do you think adds the most value to a property before selling or renting? A, replacing the air conditioning. B, a new roof. C, painting the home. Or D, replacing the flooring. The first person to answer correctly in the comments below will receive a shout out from me. So now let's get back on target with your step number 6, which is navigating the Las Vegas real estate market. Selling probate properties requires additional time. There's the time frame involved with the administrator being appointed for the state, and then there's additional court approval that might be needed for the sale. This can add additional times and require a little bit longer close of escrow. Keep in mind that a buyer may be afraid of the court approval and additional time frames, which could affect demand. The good news is that you are a seller in a seller's market. In fact, right now in Las Vegas, we have about a 2.5 month supply of inventory. If we have a 6-month supply of inventory or less, that's considered a seller's market. And with only a 2.5 month supply of inventory, you're in a pretty good seller's market. What that means is if no new homes came on the market, we would run out of inventory in about 2.5 months. As with any sell, I always talk to my clients about focusing on the things you can control. You can't control COVID. You can't control supply and demand. You can't control interest rates, but you can control 3 things. You can control the condition of the home. That's why I recommend some things like possibly painting or replacing flooring. You can control the marketing exposure of the home. That's why it's important to have an agent that has a detailed marketing plan. And finally, you can control price. Keep all of those in in mind, and there's no reason that your home should not sell quickly. Having handled these types of sales over the years, I understand the importance of providing my clients with information about timing and the market. Compared to working with clients of other types of properties, you do need skills and tools available to help your clients through the process of selling an inherited home. However, I find it truly rewarding by being able to help my clients during this difficult time. If you find yourself facing the prospect of selling an inherited home, know that you don't have to face this journey alone. I hope this information helps you when selling an inherited home. For more videos on selling real estate in Las Vegas or Henderson, check out one of the other videos on my screen. I appreciate you for watching and see you on the next one.